I was asked to do a couple of rants, and I found it a subject to have a bit of a rant about. Before I went away, it was in the papers that the Prime Minister has 35 advisors on her payroll. And the two top advisors, Timothy somebody and somebody Hill, this man and a woman, advisors before the election, were each paid £140,000 of the taxpayers' money to give the advice to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's only £149,000 a year. What warrants these pair of numpties to give advice to have the most disastrous election for a party that was 18 points ahead in the polls at the call of the election? What the hell happened? Why? And this ain't just the Tory party, right? The parties all over the place. You get this thing called short money. It's a fund for opposition parties in the British government. And Labour received £5.5 million to pay 147 advisors. What do you need 147 advisors for? You go into Parliament, right? You become an MP because you think you know what you're doing. And then to go and have 147 advisors, what the bloody hell's all that about? If you can't do the job, sod off. It ain't rocket science, really. You just go on what you believe. You don't get somebody in to come and tell you what to believe. You're not just a front piece for your policies. It's just ridiculous. I just cannot believe that they're paying out money to do advisors' role. I tell you what MPs ought to do. They ought to actually get off their arses and get out on the streets and talk to your normal, everyday Joe and Joette and see what they think. And then we'll probably get a damn sight further than what they're doing. Because it's just absolutely ridiculous that there's actually got somebody there sitting there telling them to say, yeah, I think you should do this and I think you should do that. Now, my loyalties don't matter on this subject to where I vote. That's the point, because I'm disgusted with both parties. I won't bother including the Lib Dems because they're not even worth mentioning with their 10 seats. So I just cannot weigh up the situation that we're paying out millions and millions of pounds to advisors. And then we've got like the NHS that's needing money. Now, however you think on the NHS, it's a brilliant service and it's a brilliant idea, but there's money wasted on it and it could be sorted. But to take that money from the NHS to pay £140,000 to one idiot and then pay another £140,000 to another idiot and to have the disastrous election campaign that the Tories had is just a complete joke. I don't even know how they could take the money off the government and put it in the bank accounts and be proud of themselves. I think it's just a complete disgrace and something needs to be done about it. You shouldn't have the MP. I've wrote a few notes down. The MP has 35 bloody advisors. Come round here and have a coffee. I'll advise you. I'll advise you what to do. It ain't hard what to do. You just take the country by the balls and you give it a good shaking and you stop passing about and you put your foot down. It's just beyond me. I don't know, folks. Perhaps I'm in the wrong. Perhaps I've probably completely lost it and they probably need more advisors to even throw more into the mix and make it a bigger mess than what it already is. It's quite easy. You're public. You come out at election time. You say, I'm going to do A, B, C. The other one does X, Y, Z. You sit, you listen, you take the choice, you put your vote in and you do it. And the one that comes first, you go with those principles that you said. You don't change them halfway through. You can't do that. People vote on what you say. And it's like this bloody Brexit thing. 17.4 million voted to leave. Leave. the majority leave. I might agree with it, I might not agree with it. That's not the point. If Remain won, we remain. It's just do it. Just get on with it and do it. Stop messing around, throwing rules in halfway through, changing them, moving the goalposts. Just do it. And it's the same with these advisors. You don't need 35 advisors. Yes, you need probably a couple of people to knock our ideas around, but you don't do it. It doesn't happen in anything else. You've got a football manager and you've got his assistant. That's it. Alex Ferguson never had loads. He went in there and he sorted Man United out. He kicked a load of people out and got on with the job. And look what he did. It's just completely unbelievable that there's so many people on the payroll in the government and they're just all putting their hands in and they're all the bloody same. None of them do anything as they say. None of them. Absolutely bloody none of them. They're all there making promises that won't be fulfilled. Well, get rid of your advisors, save yourselves a load of money, and you might actually be able to do something. Absolutely ridiculous. So that's my role and my rant on the unbelievable amount of money paid to advisors out of the taxpayers' pockets. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, folks, laters.